the thing I just said, why do y'all think that we compost? Like, what is the general purpose of compost?
So that we don't have to burn it away.
So that it goes back to
Yeah, totally. So it's just a process of taking some of our food waste and then using, biological processes to make it into soil so that we can put it in our gardens, put it to good use again. I've got some notes. So the exact definition of compost is that it's biologically decomposed organic matter that can be used as plant fertilizer. So there are like many different forms of composting. At the campus farm, we have like a really big compost pile. It's about as tall as I am. And like at the center, it can get up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's all just biology doing its work. We don't have anything really that big here, but we have a system. It's called add-on composting. And so basically, with smaller like add-on systems, you have to be a lot more specific and like intentional about what you're putting into it. So basically, what we want is to have an aerobic system instead of an anaerobic. Does anybody know the difference between anaerobic and aerobic? Yeah, that's right. So basically we want oxygen in our compost piles, and there are a variety of different ways to do that, but basically a lot of it depends on what we're putting into the compost pile. So there are two main ideas that I want you to know. The first is that there is a difference between brown material and green material. It's not based off color. So brown material is basically anything that is desiccated. It doesn't have a lot of water in it. So that could include dry leaves, straw, twigs, sort of woody material, stuff that just doesn't have a lot of water content. And green material is anything that is, like fruit peels or grass clippings, things that do, are like they have water in them. Basically, we want the ratio of that to be 1-to-1 in terms of mass. And since brown material is more like airy, part brown in terms of volume. So basically, or in terms of mass, I'm sorry. Volume, they should be roughly the same, 1-to-1, since brown is fluffy. And basically what we want to do when we're doing a compost pile, and these aren't very good examples, they're kind of jumbled up right now. We want to have a layer of green, a layer of brown, a layer of green, and then the top should be brown material. So it doesn't matter how many layers, just that they're layered green, brown, when we're putting it in. So that's the difference between green and brown. Next we want to be intentional about the ratio of carbon and nitrogen that we put in a compost pile. So it's kind of hard to know like what food has carbon and what food has nitrogen. So here's like a chart, and I can laminate this and put it up like on the wall or something. But basically it just shows like which things are green and brown and which things have like the ratio of carbon to nitrogen. So if we wanted to put basically like say we want leaves, food scraps, and coffee grounds, leaves have 60 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen. Food scraps have 17 parts to 1 part, and coffee grounds are 25-to-1. And what we could do to figure that out is generally we want a 30 parts carbon to 1 part nitrogen for our compost pile. So you can add up like 60 plus 17 plus 25 and then divide by 3 to take the average, and that comes out to 37. And that's generally good. So if you're putting in things like if we have a little pot of like food scraps, you can kind of determine how much carbon is. Look in here and see if there's like a lot of woody material, see what's in there, and then add it up and try and see if we have a close to 30-to-1 ratio of carbon to nitrogen. And that's going to keep it from getting anaerobic. That's what we want. So basically that's all the chemistry that's going on. What does that mean for the smart home? I think that what we should do is get like a Home Depot bucket and put it over by the door, and you can put all your food scraps and stuff in there, and we'll keep it covered. And then once a week, whoever's turn it is, can get that, bring it over, and that will be like a bunch of green material basically, and into the compost. And so what we have here is like a layered system, and it's not really working right now because what it should be is like that's fresh material and that's compost. Like that should be the end. And the way that works is that you basically take the compost down and like disperse it so that it's empty, and then you turn it. So has anybody heard of turning the compost? Basically you just take the and then you like dig it in and then invert the pile. So like do something like that. I'm not gonna do the whole thing because that like takes a while. But then you want to like just invert each pile just kind of pack it down again. Basically you want the outside parts going on the inside, and then you want the like bottom parts kind of going on top. So the like colder part should be going towards the hotter middle. And then you want to add on to this one, like there, green, brown, green, brown. And like those dead leaves over there are a great example of brown. And you can just go pick up some of those and throw it out. And then we'll just go through here. And it's my week to do compost, so I can set it up so that it works out for people.
So how do you always add to the oldest or newest one?
Add to the newest. Basically, like, they should be getting full each week, or like we should be adding enough material so that we can move it along.
So you have to like pick up everything here and move it?
Yeah.
Wait, how is that possible?
You just kind of, like a lot of it sticks together. Like this is like, like easy to pick up, I guess. It is, like if you need help. Like,
is there a point to moving it to the next bin other than marking like which one is the newest?
I guess not. That's just the way they built it.
Right?
We could theoretically.
You don't have to like if you wanted to move one.
Yeah, I guess that works. The idea is that we want to have like one open so that new material can keep. Just as long as we're intentional about getting the older one out when it's ready to go, so we can keep adding in new material. And then that way we can like be making sure that it's going like fresh and stuff. So yeah, we can figure that out. Basically,
how long does it usually take to from new to ready?
Yeah. So basically, this compost right here will take a long time because it doesn't have the best setup. What would be ideally, if you have a really good hot compost, it's going to take like 3 to 4 weeks to get good compost. If it's cold, meaning that it's like physically cold or it's got anaerobic conditions, that sort of thing, it's going to take 3-4 months. So that can we want to be really like intentional about what we're putting into it. And we can be more specific about that. I can forget what's going on here. It should be wet, not soaked, but damp. So if it hasn't rained in a while, then just like get like a watering can and sprinkle it with water, just so it's getting enough water, I guess. Yeah, and then general tips, brown stuff should always be on top. Troubleshooting. Smell it when it's your turn. If it smells sweet or it doesn't have a smell at all, that's good. If it smells really nasty or rank, then that's bad. That means it's anaerobic. So that either means if it smells really bad, there could be 2 problems. One can be that it's too packed down. There's not any oxygen coming in, so turn it. The other problem could be that if it is, there's too much nitrogen if it smells bad. So that means too much, probably like food scraps or whatnot. Look at the chart to see what nitrogen it is. It has a lot of nitrogen. And you might want to put in more woody materials, dry leaves, more brown stuff. If it's cold, which means it's not turning, or it's not like putting into compost, or it's not hot or anything, then we might want to put more nitrogen in it because it's got too much carbon. So more fruit, more like watery things, more green material. So yeah, generally, do y'all have a good feel for what can be composted? What are some things that can be composted?
So you can't compost meat.
Right, you can't compost meat, grease, bones, flesh. Don't put bleach paper in. I think there's certain types of compostable napkins. Just make sure you're putting that stuff in. Actually, newspaper can be composted, just not too much of it. Ash is kind of hard, so just don't worry about that. Dairy products are a no. Fatty foods are a no. Don't put any feces, but like manure is different. So any dog poop or anything like that, don't put in there. Also, don't put any weeds that have seeds on them, like crabgrass or something that has seeds, because then it'll just grow, and then we'll be putting it on our garden, and then we're just literally growing weeds. Yeah, chopped up stuff is better. So if you can chop up your foods when you're putting it in, it'll decompose a lot faster, and then we get hot compost and it's changing quicker, and we don't have to worry about it getting back up. Yeah, that's all I got. Does anybody have questions about that?
How about paper tissues?
Paper tissues.
Like bleached, right?
Yeah, some of them are bleached.
Okay.
I think if they're used tissues, I think any bodily fluids in general not wanted in compost. We don't want diseases and stuff dying in the compost. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the general idea. I think turning smartphone, we'll put the bucket over there. If you have questions about turning, just come ask me here on Facebook or actually let us know. We'll try and get it set up this week so that it's going what looks manageable because it is kind of like unique for each one. And we can figure out a system specific. Does anybody have any general questions about composting?
What do you do with that?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So like these peaks over here might want it. It can be good for gardening. I think essentially it makes the most sense to use it over here. If we have enough, I would consider putting it in my truck and taking it. If we get like too much, then we can definitely bring it over there. But I think the best place would just be put it over here. Make sure to ask before you give it to anyone. But I know they have work days on Saturdays. That would be a good place. If you really want, you can put it in like the smart home general stuff, like just kind of dump it around. But that's the general concept.
Is the compost pile just solely managed by us or other people are?
I think we're the ones managing it. I don't know if like community gardeners like them are working. So it is, but generally we want it turned once a week. So that works out perfectly since we'll have one person doing it a week. So, yeah. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.